And we're live with Haley. Sometimes I think of calling them Hell's Bells. I don't know why. But we're going to go through ISTJ legend, Yury Gutan.
And I'm just along for the ride.
Yes, she's just along for the ride. And maybe to compare this guy to her sister, also resembles ISTJ. So this guy's probably like ESTJ role. And this is Yury, I'm indignant. So this is Russia Today. Supposed to be a propaganda channel, but it just makes everybody look like a bunch of artisans and a bunch of frustrated guardians who are trying to make the artisans get their work done. And so basically it's almost the opposite of propaganda. Right, Yury, I'm indignant. I've got those two trainees smoking. All right then. So I'll just. What does he mean? Haley, what do you think he means by that?
Are you talking about chat? Because I cannot see.
Oh, you can't see anything on screen. I'm sharing.
No. You have to send me the link.
Oh, right. Flipping heck. Right then, folks. Technical snafu. Right. Links.
So if you're laughing about me, I have no idea what you're saying.
No. Yeah. Okay. So I can send it over Facebook.
Yeah, sounds
good. Right. Alright, okay, that's just... Right, there we go.
Just 1 second. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. Okay.
The present thumbnail gives a certain impression that you may or may not be happy with.
Oh, man. I've actually read it will reduce by like a centimeter or something negligible. Don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I think it's because of the wide angle lens, so whatever appears closer to the camera appears bigger than what it... Anyway, that was at the beginning. So you've got this, Yury, I'm indignant. I think this guy's like, he's sort of an ESTJ supervisor role. So here we go. Right. You see it okay?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a lag on my end.
Okay. But you saw those previous 3 slides?
Yes, I did.
Right. So what we can do is once you've like taken it in, you can say next, that.
Okay. Well, which slide? Oh,
what do you think he means by that small unit?
Well, with my dirty mind, I can... Well, that's what I was saying when I said that I've actually read that smoking can... like negligible, like a centimeter or something. Do I know if it's true? Nope. Never had one to test it out, so...
Yeah, but that's the right thing to say, though, if you want guys to stop smoking.
Right.
And it might think, oh, now you're serious. Oh, serious medical complications. Right. Okay, just a C-34 tank. This was when they were like messing with his fish in his fish tank.
Oh gosh.
Did you 2 apes come and scare you? Did they poke you with their dirty hands? Go and rest my lovely little fishy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag. I'm still in the dirty hand slide.
Right, okay. How about now?
Nope, still there. Let me try and refresh it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, here we go. Go and rest.
Right. The next one should start with damn.
Still on the fishy one.
What do you see now?
Yeah, the jerks who scare my little babies.
Right, so the guy on the right, definitely very much like ESTP. He even said things like, when you're smart, you're cunning. Guy on the left, less of an artisan, more of a possibly an introverted SP, or a sort of a less mature SJ that can be sort of led astray. Whatever, like, I mean, like if everybody else is slacking off around them, they might slack off as well because it's what's normal to them. It's a little bit more structured. And it's interesting how the two bosses, you've got the boss, Yury Gutan, he likes the guy on the left. And the reasons he states are the things that are the things that Guardians value. And then the other guy, he's probably an artisan himself. He values the things about the guy on the right. So you can't get away from Keirsey typology, especially about sensing types. Right, now this is a funny section. So if you let me know what it says on screen, if you read it out every time a piece of text comes up, then I know which one we're on.
Okay. She was hungry. Need more context.
Right, any more?
No other slide yet. I'll spoil her appetite for a week, I promise.
That's why she left her post as the crane operator. And it's like,
oh.
a little bit of TJ coming out there. And then he just fixed. This is where he's getting a drink. Just making himself a drink. Just making a drink. Can you see it where it says this one's for me?
No, not yet.
And the expression on his face. Right. Okay. So is there no way you can join, say, by laptop? Are you watching it on your laptop?
Well, I'm joined with you on my phone, and I'm watching the link on my laptop. But the link, the laptop link seems to be lagging a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Or you know what? Let me see. Yeah. Well, let me see if I can't follow it on my phone here. It's just very small, and I can't see the text, so you're gonna have to read it out to me.
Okay. Yeah, see, there might be a little square you can click on.
Yeah, I see it. It's quite small still.
Right.
But it's okay. I can see the picture, just the text.
Right, okay. And I'll just read the text out. This one's for me. Crane operators should be beautiful. So this is where I think he goes in, like, has that in any moment. And
that's so random.
And they talk about, that's what I mean. It's like, it happens every now and then. And so now they talk about they're going to have a party. And it's like, then you need a stripper. And then she says, we'll call you. I'll dress up in latex and dance for you.
Yeah, I'll be your sexy
now, initially you might think that's a little bit creepy, but he sort of pulls it back a little bit by saying, a male striptease, I'm a handsome man. But he pulls it back a bit. I only charge $300 to $400. Nice. And then she offers, how much would you pay? Like $3. And then I wouldn't even put my shoes on for $3. Then you got Yury Gutan here talking about management technique. Liberal management methods are usually ineffective. Right, so you're up to date with the slides at the moment,
yes,
right? Because you're watching it in the hat. You have to motivate a person. You can't just talk them into working. I wonder if you're going to agree with him whilst we go through this. You have to force them. How? You need to be tough and strict, and not everyone likes it.
Well, yes and no. Because I would never hire someone I had to force to work in the first place.
Ooh, good thinking. Same here. Usually people aren't too happy when you demand things from them.
Yeah, well.
They say nasty things behind your back, although they smile when you meet them.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's a random picture of Jonathan. Now, what Jonathan actually likes the fact that he actually brought this up as like a young SP guy that looks like him. And I thought, okay, Jonathan, I'm glad you see the resemblance. Now, what's weird though is in this moment is actually completely different from Jonathan, because right at this moment is leering at a woman, whereas Jonathan is SX last. So this is like an opposite Jonathan. Right, here we go. So ESTP mindset, I think, and so he is up against. So this is Kirill. Does Kirill, and the other one's Vladimir. This guy ESTP, okay. I think, he does boxing, and like again, so it's energy and enthusiasm when focused versus someone who's more disciplined. Right, so I think I'll win as I'm active and I've been into sports all my life. Vladimir's more passive and he does things more reluctantly.
Okay.
Plus, I think my social skills are better. Okay. What we got here? I fit in more easily. Well, around other SPs. I might be a little bit over-ambitious with this next one. I'd like to be an engineer and design new weapons and tanks. Well, that's for the INTPs. Or NTPs, ISTPs. Right. Now, here we go. This is where this guy on the right, I think this guy's more like an artisan. And so he values his choice. So the guy on the right likes Kirill, the guy you've just seen. The guy on the left, Yury Gutan, he likes the guy that's more like him. So this is just an example of how the Keirsey temperament for sensing types comes through in real life. But here we go. I think Kirill's more dynamic, communicative, physically fit. Yury and I will celebrate it with a nice bottle of Armenian cognac. So Armenia has been described as Russia's Israel, in that Russia supports Armenia. They'll sell weapons to Azerbaijan as well, but they'll sell weapons to anybody. But they really support Armenia, and Armenians can actually have a customs union with Russia. So Armenians can freely travel to Russia. Okay. And in fact, one of the interpreters on the channel, what's she called? Oh, Anna. Well, I said the surname. Anna. She's from Armenia, and she's switched between Russia and England.
Okay.
So there's a big connection between Armenia and Russia. So you got the little bit of trivia there for people. There we go. ISTJ legend. I don't know. I think more ISTJ for him than ESTJ. I don't know why, but definite ESTJ. I mean, there's certainly the role variant that this is something like what we talked about last week, type versus role variant. What I think you've got here, his role variant is like supervisor, but it's like, and so when you get somebody of the type in that role, it sort of doubles up as the role that they perform sort of feeds back on them. I watched them and asked them to shop performance permission to train Vladimir. I think he's more serious. Thoughtful and hardworking. Kirill is less calm. You see what I mean? It's the guardian viewpoint of what they value.
Right.
And this is what you get with Keirsey, is you get stuff about motivation. And so it's like a bridge to Enneagram. So it's like if you want more depth, a little bit more precise, go to Enneagram. Kirill is less calm. And more slapdash. He's not a serious guy. Says your sister said similar things about other people, like, oh, they're not serious, they're not.
Well, you know, the sad thing is that I'm really not. I mean, I guess I'm closer to my sister now than I've ever been, but I really have never heard my sister describe people other than, I guess, my parents, but that doesn't really count. I don't know. My sister's a tough cookie to crack.
Right.
It's not that I'm the typing master anyway, but she really, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I would say ISTJ, but I really don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes when people are really close to you, it's like you get all the other little bits of information that can obscure type.
Right. Yeah.
Not a serious guy. Valerie and I better bother the convert and he'll stay in the shop. So that's just a little bit of the, I think it'll be Vladimir. And then we get onto more of the comedy stuff. I'll drink this cognac and I'll rub Valeria's nose in it. So what's interesting there about Valeria is you've got an artisan, but who's in a position of a supervisor. And so you can see the differences between the two. Where you've got one supervisor who's an SJ, will value people who are responsible, reliable, disciplined, whereas a supervisor that's an artisan will value people who are energetic and enthusiastic. So again, looking at the difference between type and social role. Here we go. He's shouting again. He shouts all the time. So talking about Yury Gutan, I wanted to talk to you about the guy. So this is where they're discussing the pros and cons. But this is the guy who decides. And this guy looks like ESTJ. It's like his body language, and I mean it helps when it's a bigger guy. But I like the other. I like the one more than the other. I see. Kirill, the ESTP. I see. I like him more. He's quite good. Come on, slides. He's curious. Inquisitive. Strange. These are not SJ qualities. I vote for him. Interesting.
Interesting. I love that.
No, I think it's because of what he's being told by the other guy. His slapdash. Valeria says Kirill's a good worker. But Gatante is the same about Vladimir. That's just my opinion. I don't understand. I think Kirill's better. He's curious and smart. I think he has potential. So you got that little bit of identification there. Artisan with an artisan. And he's focusing on the positive strengths. And but the key with the artisan is they have to be focused. It's up to you to decide. There you go. Tell me about the other one. So now he's going to talk about the taller of the two, Vladimir. He's more of a passive kind of guy, at least to my mind. Karma. Yeah, karma. Inert. Yes. So Vladimir might be like more ISTJ. Maybe I don't really know. But he is a little bit calmer, a little bit more. And again, it's what you value. We need busy people like Kirill. Again, that's my opinion. It's up to you. You see, Socionics really doesn't have this about what the types value in, like, you see the Keirsey temperaments just come through with sensing types because he knew them so well. I mean, he worked as an educational psychologist. He was very much aware, because a lot of the children that he would come across that were having problems in school were because they were just bored out of their brains because the education system didn't suit them.
Right, yeah.
And NTs also can be bored with school. SJs tend to love it. And what tends to happen is it's like they want to do the same maths thing again and again and again because they get good at it. And it's like...
Yeah, see, I really enjoyed, especially math, but one of the things that really turned me off is the repetitive. I mean, I understand to a point that you need to do something so many times to really have it embed in your mind, but I couldn't stand it. I mean, once I got it and got the concept, I wanted to move on. I don't want to do the same problem another 20 times and waste time out of my life. Let's move on, learn something new. Yeah. So that aspect of school, I really, really hated. I hated the busy work. So yeah, I would say I definitely got bored a lot of the time.
Yeah, and also one of the problems there is because they have grades in the United States, but they don't actually stick to it because they just push people up the grades, whatever. So you've only actually got one band. Whereas in England, you had different streams. So what you would have been in upper band for mathematics, where everyone's at the same level and it would go through quicker. It would be taught at a higher level. Whereas what should have happened with you is they should have promoted you to the next grade for math. But you see, were the grades just for everything and not just for specific subjects?
Wait, what do you mean? Were the grades for everything or not for specific?
So, for instance, if you were promoted another grade, does that mean all your subjects would have been at that grade? Or say you...
Yes.
You see, that's stupid. Because someone could be really good at maths. They should then move up the grades
Right,
for
but
maths.
that's just the laziness of the school system.
Oh, that's terrible. Because you get loads of people. So, for instance, someone's really good at English but not maths.
Right.
They should go ahead in the grades and have advanced English.
See, you know, I'm not trying to say I'm intelligent or anything, but I actually should have been in the next grade up, but they kept me back because of my birthday. I was just on the cusp because I was a December baby. But I'd say I probably would have been a lot better off if they would have.
So it started off as a good system, the idea of grades, and people would move ahead at their own pace. But the problem is, well, they always move everybody along because each year you get a whole new bunch of students coming in. So otherwise you're just going to have a log jam of people. And so, I mean, it used to be a good thing when people, it used to be a big thing when people get a high school degree, but now they just basically graduate everybody. And then at university, first year is just bringing people up to speed.
Right, yeah.
And it's like they did a study, like most students don't know how to balance a checkbook or do basic. It's like, oh, dearie me. Oh, well. I don't want to get political, but teachers' unions. Again, that's my opinion. It's up to you to decide. Also, grading the kids on a curve. Right, that way, you can't compare teachers. Yeah. Wait, they just gave it to you. I think this was something about swapping shifts. Right, so now we're just getting to the funny stuff. Have you gone mad?
Wait, so is this the chick he's flirting with, or it was the other one?
No, that was a different one.
Okay.
But hey, you've been here 3 days and you want to leave early? You should come here if you should have come here if you wanted to work, not go home early.
I agree with that.
Okay, I'll let you go, but you'll work 12-hour shifts all next week.
Yeah. And then one asking to leave home early next week, and sayonara.
Yeah. They've been here 2 minutes and they want to sneak away. It's a production line. You work till you're covered in sweat. Right. And this is where they're talking about they've got an order from the Russian government, and so they have to fulfill it on time. I won't allow it to be late. Right, and again, this is again you've got an artisan in a role variant, in a role typically suited to an STJ, senior foreman. Right, then next time, so they find these women who are doing fine technical work with their smaller hands, the more delicate, dexterous work. But of course, they're not really interested in the work that they're doing. I'm running around the shop looking for you, and you're here? Can you read the text?
No.
Are you here to work or pick up chicks? Follow me. And I'll just zoom it in on his. Oh, it's not working very well. But I'll try to zoom it in on his stance. Let's have a look. Let's try and zoom this in. Oh,
yeah, I think I can see he's got his hands on his
hips.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is how is this a propaganda? I mean, the person behind this documentary is not thinking about making this into a propaganda piece. It's thinking about making it into an entertaining series. It's about 12 episodes long. I was wondering where the women were. Right, so because that before was like what's going to happen the next week, and so now we get a little bit more of that interaction. Why are there so many women here? Isn't it a man's job? Well, we already had a female crane operator.
Yeah.
They can do this, but women are better at it. But again, the smaller hands.
Right.
Is it really woman's work? It's specialist work, whether it's a man or a woman. And then here he is chatting her up. It's a secret. I shouldn't talk about it. I don't know what. I think I just took that grab in order to show her. So it's a little bit out of context. And here's an interesting thing. It's Yury's birthday today. He's turning 60. So what they do is they get given a cake and they pretend it's from them. Artisan tactics. He's turning 60. The guy who shouts at you. Yeah, we've met. Right. That's your birthday present. And then Yury says, I didn't expect you'd come. But of course, he doesn't let them stay.
Okay.
I didn't expect you to congratulate me. We were asked to help. Help? Well, congratulate me then. Again, it's the SJs. The SJs want respect. They want words of affirmation.
That's
You're
so
a wonderful
interesting.
boss. You're a wonderful boss, and we like you.
Yes. My gosh, that seems so fake to me.
Nice and sarcastic. When Vladimir and Kirill came to my birthday party and brought a huge tank-shaped cake. I was surprised. Oh, look, he's chuffed. For some reason, I was sure they hated me. Wait a minute, it's not changed completely. It still thinks they're donuts. And were ready to kill me as soon as I left the factory. Hukashov had prepared a cake, a tank-shaped cake. Horoshoff. We let him think the cake was us. Of course you did. You're an SP. Of course you did. Of course you let him think the cake was from you.
It's a pretty asshole move, honestly.
Haley with the strong FI. I've mentioned this before. The strong values. I was amazed but didn't invite them to the table. I believe it's too early for that. You got to work your way up with the SJs. That's another thing. Earning your stripes. No skipping ahead. I haven't decided on whether we need them or not. Yeah, so the whole series follows them as these two trainees across 12 episodes.
Okay.
Oh, this is a nice moment. My dearest husband, I sincerely wish you health, respect of your colleagues. This guy should have a whole sitcom built around him, like his home life. It's like all these fantastic things. My dear, respect to the colleagues. Love, family, happiness, and a cozy home.
He almost reminds me of the guy from Yes Minister.
Which one? The one
guy.
you hate?
No. The main, just in some of his
Jim Hacker.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Interesting.
And you have to realize that I haven't actually seen this, so I'm just going off of what I'm seeing of him in pictures. But just some of his little quirky moments remind me of Yep.
I love it's like these muted facial expressions and a cozy home. She's been through all the hardships we've had. This is a nice moment coming up. She's been through all the hardships we've had. While I studied in college, we were all but starving. To be honest, I was afraid of this age. 60 years. I thought that was it. But it's past, and it seems life goes on. I'm working, and I'm going to work for many years to come. I haven't felt yet that I'm old. They've screwed up all they could have screwed up. More mistakes. Both are trying, but they're clueless young fools.
So who eventually gets it?
Well, you'll have to see. That is revealed in later slides.
Okay.
What can I say? But they do have potential, yes. So only desire then. So you also got another aspect of type here. Maturity. They've made a ton of mistakes already and screwed up many times, but we'll see. I'm not ready to give them my evaluation. I'm not. Right, now here's a bit. This is where they see this in a completely different light. They see this in a completely different light. So why do you think Yury Gutan here thinks that he is an idiot for doing that? And he's suggesting he do that.
I can't really see what's going on.
Right, what he's doing is he's holding up a sledgehammer with one hand in front of him at the end.
And Yuri's calling him an idiot?
Yeah. And Yury suggested he do it. I think Yury thinks that you could have it come down and break your crown, crash your skull open.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the other guy was really impressed. You know, the Artisan guy. And he thought, oh, this guy's strong. This guy's coordinated.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And so let's use him to help bash in the wheels on tanks. So, because they're big, heavy wheels, they're like a ton each. And that's to whack them into place because he saw that skill. And so there's your difference there in type.
Right. Well, I mean, have personally never held out a sledgehammer with one hand. I've never had the opportunity to. However, I'm just trying to think of holding something like that out with one hand, and if it were to fall back at me, I mean, not that I really know what would happen, but I can't imagine it would be too hard to get out of the way or just try to set the balance with the hand that you're holding it and just. So basically, what I'm getting at is I don't know if I would call someone an idiot. Like I feel like it would be too easy to get out of the way of danger in a
Yeah.
situation like that. So I wouldn't call someone an idiot for doing that.
Yeah, I know, but you know, he is the one who suggested he'd do it. I mean, he's just like these SJs. They're very right. Okay, so this guy's from the military, and it's like they want their order, and they want their order on time. Now, so maybe what we've got here is a situation where why are the SJs so ordered? And I think part of it is because they don't want to put themselves in a stressful situation where they leave it all to the last moment. They want to get it done. So, for example, as someone who's a bit of a J yourself, Haley, just a touch, 100% on the MBTI. Would it be more stressful for you if you left it till the last moment and there was more work to do?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Right, there you go. So it might not just be a case, folks, that the SJs like to work and do boring stuff. It's just that they don't like being under pressure. They like a comfortable pace. And there's a great word to look up, a great explanation that fits the SJ mindset, and that is the idea of the comfort zone. Getting into a comfort zone where you know what you're doing and you can go at a comfortable pace. It's like those kids that want to do the same type of maths problem all the while. I know how to do this. I'm in my comfort zone. I don't have to test myself. Whereas artisans, they definitely like to test themselves. The thing they hate more than anything is boredom. Boredom and being controlled. Right, so when a state defense procurement and acquisition order comes in, you get a very tight deadline that no one dares to either change or ignore. Then the pressure starts. Superiors push you. There's phone calls from Moscow. Military reps who won't let you breathe. We've never failed to finish an order on time, but it always comes with spilled blood.
Interesting.
So, like I said, he doesn't like that crunch, that pressure crunch. Whereas the SP, do you remember how you've been watching Battlestar Galactica and you got the drunk guy? How he's great under pressure.
Right.
So tight, yeah. So it's opposite strengths and weaknesses. This was weird. Please write it in a pretty font. It's for the guys at their regiment. And there's his reaction to it. Right. Right, and then this is where they're at the test range, where they're firing the cannon on the tank, on a T-72 tank. And he's wondering why they brought those two young recruits here, those trainees, and it's like, and then he just thinks they're not being safe enough. And then we get some stuff about, right, now we have a weird situation here where at first he doesn't know why Vasio is written on the tank, and he wants them to wipe it off, and then they explain the story behind it, and then when he realizes what the story is, he then starts thinking in terms of tradition and that he wants to keep it on there.
Okay.
Right, so wipe it off. No, wait. Oh, that might have been the other guy. I'm not sure. Right, that might have been him. No, wait, this tank took part in real battles. I think the other guy's talking there. The soldiers called him Iron Vassia. I don't care. That's what the soldiers called him. They asked us to call him that. I don't care. Wipe it off. All our bosses gave their permission. Let's call them. And then he realized later on, this is when he sort of reflects back on it and he sort of changes his mind. On your way to Donskoy Monastery in Moscow, you see a T-34 tank. It's like the Russian equivalent of the Sherman tank, the iconic American tank in World War II.
Okay.
Right. With an inscription on it saying Dmitry Donskoy. It was made in our shop 70 years ago. And when I saw a damaged tank covered in blood, which said Vassia, you do realize you were filmed? He is changing his mind here, he's changing his tune. I instantly realized it was no ordinary tank. Really? You were saying wipe it off? I knew that there must be a long, dark history behind it. As far as I understand, some brave guy fought in these battles. Look how that tank, it just goes so far into the distance. Got a real perspective there. What have we got here? We're about 2/3 the way through. And if the soldiers decided to name the tank after him, it means both this soldier and this tank deserve respect.
Took him a while to get there.
Right. Well, yeah, but now you get some funny stuff. So the two complaining about it being cold. It'll be warmer when you're in bed with a woman. Step by step, these guys started getting more and more professional. We're getting towards the end of the series now. I could see that they were interested and eager to work. And slowly they're becoming more motivated, and that means a lot. Right, here we go. We got some funny stuff now. And so they're smoking cigarettes, these two young lads. Do you know the tank's loaded with live shells? Yes. Why are you smoking then? If it explodes, your pants will be found 3 kilometers away. So that's funny to me because I got the mental imagery of it. And actually, that's the thing with SJs is they like the mental imagery in part of their jokes. So there is some similarities with the Alpha Quadra humor. That's the impression I got from the Jean Perret book about comedy writing, that it seemed to be a combination of connections for him. So that's the NE. And then the SI part of funny mental images.
Okay.
You're both grown-ups. You've been in the army. But I've seen babies with more sense. They smoked at the range and threw their stubs everywhere. We don't do it here. We fight smoking. War's serious. Take care. If you want to live, that's the first rule. And it is a wicked comeback from one of the guys. And if I don't want to live, can I have a go? Like, you got his reaction shot to that, like, comeback. So that's quite an artisan-y kind of line from Vladimir there. So I don't know if Vladimir might be like ISTP. I don't know. He's a little bit in between. Maybe he's like a 6, an artisan 6. Maybe an Enneagram type 9. He's a little bit more low energy. You haven't earned that yet. Did you poop your pants? They just fired the gun. Fired the cannon. Just a bit. That was scary. I mean, I've once seen on a television program, someone put a glass pane outside a tank about 5 or 10 meters away, and the shock wave from the gun broke the glass pane. I'm in awe. I'm so pumped.
That's really interesting about the glass.
Yeah. They won't let us do it because we're stupid, good for nothing. So he might be artisan, but he's definitely, I don't think he's ESTP. Maybe he's more of a sort of rational artisan. So FI or TI Dom. I might think TI Dom because the role is more with objects rather than with people. So maybe more ISTP for him. I'm not so sure. His type isn't as clear. I'll have to work 50 more years before I shoot a tank round. The first shot scared me. That was hardcore. And he loves it. And then Yury Gutan again, just being funny. Like, and he's saying, like, they've experienced the shot of the cannon. It's like your wedding night. Even better. That's what one of them might have said. And he's married. Oh, yeah, this is funny. We have a tradition. A rite of passage into tankhood. Kirill, I peed there. Don't grab that snow. And the expression on his face. You can't see it that well, and it's a little bit blurred because he was moving his head at the time I took the snap. And then you go, smearing it on him, smearing the snow on him. Now you're a real tanky. Oil workers smear their first oil on their faces. I'm glad they're not sewage workers.
Yeah, seriously.
When you fire the cannon for the first time, you have to smear the powder on your face. Why is that, Yury? Is it because it's tradition? So this is when you get an instance where you might have traditions that look a bit artisan-y, a little bit boisterous, but if they are the tradition, then the SJs will do it.
Right.
So you have to go out there and paint your bum blue and run around the forest naked. Well, if it's tradition, I might as well do it. Then you're a real tanky. Once the guys experienced the full assembly cycle and started to take part in field tests, I saw that they began to understand something. It's the fruit of their labor, the result of their work. This is their knowledge. When you're responsible, you feel differently than just looking at it from afar. Right, so you see, they've learned a little bit as well. There's 2 recruits. So again, it's dynamic nature of type, and that We mustn't think that people are static and like just capable of certain things because that's what it says in the type profile. My vote goes to Kirill because he's an artisan like me, isn't he? They're both good. But this one is more in tune with me. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
His enthusiasm and desire to work in our workshop. Kirill is a go-getter. And the way he talks about him with a smile, then it's like that connection's there. One of his features is that once he sets his mind to something, he won't drop it. I vote for Kirill. Yury, what do you have to say? Well, it's hard for me to say anything. Other than they've been both quite a pain. Incredible screw-ups, really. It should be another. Oh, I think I did it. Wow, my mistake because I think I got that scan. They've screwed up so many times. I think I had a scan that was on twice. Not a scan, a snap. They've screwed up so many times. On the other hand, I've shown them around the entire production cycle. And I tested them at the range. There's something about them. We have to see. Will it work? Maybe. If they grow up and become more serious. Well, our team will discipline them. So you can see from here, they've actually taken both of them on.
Okay.
Vladimir Danilov is an interesting character. Sharp and energetic. Oh, now he's saying he's energetic, but usually it's like he was saying he's calm. But you see, he's done a little bit of tactics there because he knew when he said calm before, the other guy said, "You mean inert?"
Right. Yeah.
He might deliver. But I wouldn't vouch for both of them. Vladimir and Kirill took a ride in a tank and I looked into their eyes. They weren't simply excited because of the ride. They were happy because they created this tank and that it's alive and that they got to ride it. See, a little bit of subjective sensing there. You're just building stuff into it because of the context and that. Maybe a little bit of introverted feeling there from the tertiary, but that's speculation. If I'd have said, you have to go to war in this tank, they'd do it in a heartbeat, I'm sure. See, that tank factory almost went bust in the 1990s because there was no orders from the Russian government. There was no money. And the only way they survived is because they got a tank order from India.
Okay.
So we might want to hire them. Because I saw a documentary on this, a 2-part documentary. So we might want to hire them with a probation period. Since there were some screw-ups and other issues. And he's got like that typical ESTJ face, in my opinion, that other guy. There were quite a few. I think this is where the other guy comes in. Forgotten his name. Right, so this is the other guy talking. The one with his hands together. The one leaning forward. Andre, I can't remember a new employee ever being fully qualified.
That's fair.
Yeah. We need people who potentially become a core of our workshop. Right, and then you just got some stuff there. And there we go. That's the end.
You know, I might have a little more input if I had actually seen it. But
well, it was 12 episodes, but
I see. Or maybe, you know, just one so I can feel the characters out a little bit. Because, I mean, snapshots are great, but I feel like I'm probably missing a lot of who they are. And so I apologize.
That's okay, but just from those bits, you can like see the temperament. Like that Artisan, the SP Artisan temperament, and then the Guardian temperament. And then also, I think at times, a little bit of like that NE humor coming through in Yury Gutan, where it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, really random.
Your
like
pants
the whole
will be
stripping thing, and
yeah.
I
only charge $300. I wouldn't put my shoes on for $3. If they explode, your pants will be found 3 kilometers away. Right there, folks. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and this has basically been a makeshift hangout because somebody didn't turn up. Will not be mentioned. But we'll stop it now. So hopefully that's been both entertaining and informative. Right then.
Hopefully.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.